This is a very important message for you today. Do not ignore it. Pay attention to this message. This is not just a message. This is a whisper from heaven written in gold and urgency. It didn't pass through time like any ordinary word. It tore through dimensions. It was carried by Archangel Michael himself, his wings heavy with sacred truth, his voice trembling with concern, his hands lifted not in war today, but in longing. He is not commanding right now. He is begging. And that's what makes this moment holy. Because when a warrior kneels, it means something has gone far beyond the surface. It means your spirit is involved. Your name has been spoken in a sacred room. And something divine is unfolding, not tomorrow, but tonight. Michael says, "You don't see what I see. You don't hear what I hear. But you can feel it, can't you? The spiritual shifting. The atmosphere changing. The pressure rising. You've been sensing something is off in your house, but you've been pushing it down, trying to explain it away. But I was sent to tell you, your home is about to be touched by something unexpected. Not to scare you, my beloved, but to prepare you. Because tonight, something will be revealed. And it's not to destroy, but to awaken. There's been a silence in your house that didn't come from peace. It came from something hidden. There are words left unsaid, doors left half open, and energies lingering that weren't invited by God. Michael saw it. He saw the prayers you whispered when no one was looking. He saw you sit on your bed with tears in your chest, not knowing exactly why you felt so heavy. He saw the light in your eyes flicker every time someone left the room, because your soul knew something was not being spoken. And tonight, heaven has decided to answer. Not with destruction, but with truth. Not with fear, but with clarity. The kind that cracks open what was closed, the kind that lets the light in. Because you have been in the dark for too long about something in your own home. Not because you were blind, but because you were loyal. You chose to protect what you didn't understand. You chose to believe the best even when the worst was obvious. You kept quiet when your spirit was screaming. And heaven calls that love. But now, heaven also calls for justice. And that justice comes in the form of a divine revelation tonight. Michael speaks again. I am not coming to fight tonight. I am coming to lift. To unmask. To uncover. And most importantly, to protect. Because something you built your life around has cracks underneath. And those cracks cannot remain hidden anymore. They are growing. They are speaking. And tonight, they will shout. There is someone in your environment who has not been honest. They don't lie with words. They lie with energy. With absence. With pretended presence. They have grown comfortable in your home, but uncomfortable in your truth. They have smiled when they should have confessed. They have taken from the light you provided without ever acknowledging its source. And now, their comfort is ending. Because the time has come for truth to enter this space like a holy fire, not to burn down your house, but to cleanse it. This is not just a warning. This is a preparation. Because what will be exposed tonight, spiritually or emotionally, will shock you at first. But it will free you forever. It will make you look at your walls differently. It will make you walk into your living room and feel the atmosphere break open. It will bring you to your knees, not from fear, but from release. Because what's been sitting in the corner of your house, spiritually draining you, is finally being dragged into the light. Michael is pacing now. His wings stretch wide. His eyes, blazing with both pain and power. Do you know how long I've waited to speak to you like this? He says. Do you know how long I've been trying to get this message through? I wasn't allowed to speak until now. But heaven has permitted it. Because heaven cannot bear to see you suffer in silence any longer. Heaven has seen the woman or man you trusted. Heaven has heard the conversations that were had in rooms you never entered. Heaven has watched the subtle stealing, not of money, but of energy, of honesty, of sacred peace. And now, heaven is done watching. Now, heaven is ready to act. And the first act is awareness. Tonight, your home becomes a stage. But you are not the victim. You are the revelation. You are the one God is revealing truth for. You are the one Archangel Michael is circling with protection, with presence, with fire. Because this time, when the truth comes forward, you won't collapse. You will rise. And when it's all over, you will walk through your home and feel something different. Lighter. Clearer. Brighter. You'll realize the heaviness was never yours. It was borrowed. Imposed. Forced. And now, it's leaving. And as it leaves, something divine enters. Something holy. Something that says, this house has been reclaimed. This soul has been restored. This child of God is finally free. Archangel Michael has not left. His presence lingers like incense that fills the room even after the flame is gone. He's here, still watching, still waiting, still holding back the weight of what heaven has stored for this hour. You may feel restless right now. Your chest may feel tight. Your emotions may be stirred for no reason you can explain. That's not confusion. That's confirmation. Something divine is stirring the unseen air in your home, and Michael is trying to help you recognize it before it unfolds fully. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Because what's coming is not destruction, it is exposure, the divine kind. the kind that sets things right again. Michael gently kneels in the spiritual corners of your house. He is not just blessing the walls, he is listening to them. Because walls remember. They remember words that weren't meant for you to hear. They remember the way your name was used when you weren't in the room. They remember footsteps that walked in and out with secrets in their pockets. And tonight, those walls will release the silence they have held for too long. Michael has placed his sword not to threaten, but to cut through illusion. This is the hour of unveiling. And you, dear one, are heaven's priority. There's someone close to you who has grown too comfortable with your kindness, too familiar with your mercy. They forgot that your silence wasn't weakness, it was love. But love that's not reciprocated eventually becomes a burden. And that burden has been sitting silently in your home, trying to dress itself up as peace, but heaven saw the truth. And heaven has decided, enough is enough. Not because God is angry, but because God is just. And justice always comes, not to punish, but to restore. To rearrange what was unfairly tilted. To give you back what was emotionally stolen in slow, invisible ways. Michael whispers again, do not fear what will rise tonight. Because what rises is what was already there. It's not new. It's just no longer allowed to hide. This could be in a conversation, in a message, in a moment. It might not be loud, but it will be clear. And it will be personal. Because this is not about chaos. It's about divine order. It's about heaven saying, this is your home. You deserve to feel safe here. You deserve to know the truth here. You deserve to breathe again without walking on eggshells. You've lived in rooms where your spirit had to shrink to keep the peace. You've smiled during meals with people who smiled back, but held knives in their hearts. You've trusted silence because it was easier than asking questions you weren't ready to hear the answers to. But heaven is ready now. Ready for you to stand in your house like a sovereign child of God and say, this space belongs to the truth. Not to manipulation. Not to secrets. Not to energy that wears masks. And Michael will stand behind you when you say it. Not with a sword, but with light. Because this time, God is not just going to show you what's hidden. He's going to give you the strength to respond in wisdom, not emotion. In clarity, not confusion. You won't react, you'll rise. You won't collapse, you'll command. Because you're not who you were when this story began. You're stronger. More awakened. More protected. And the person who once assumed they could speak circles around your spirit will now tremble when they see you standing in your truth. Tonight, your home becomes an altar. Not of religion, but of realignment. And in this altar moment, Michael is pouring oil on the foundation of your space. Not literal oil, but spiritual oil. The kind that makes demons uncomfortable. The kind that makes liars restless. The kind that makes true hearts weep. Because when that oil settles, anything not sent by God will either confess, exit, or be transformed. So listen closely now, not with your ears, but with your soul. Be present. Be still. Light a candle. Say a prayer. Let your spirit breathe. Because Michael is not asking you to fight tonight. He is asking you to witness. To stay awake. To stay aware. Because what's coming is not an attack, it is a shifting. And once this shift happens, the energy in your house will never be the same. God says, "My child, I have seen every moment you cried without understanding why. I've seen every night your peace was disturbed by something you couldn't explain. Tonight, I reclaim this ground. I reclaim your rest. I reclaim the light in your eyes. Let it begin. And it will begin, not with thunder, but with a whisper. Not with shouting, but with stillness. And in that stillness, you will finally know what heaven always knew. You were never imagining it. You were never overreacting. You were never weak for sensing what others denied. You were discerning. And now, your discernment is being rewarded with truth. There is a silence that heaven respects. And there is a silence that heaven breaks. Tonight, that silence is being shattered, not out of rage, but out of mercy. For too long, you have protected people who never protected your peace. For too long, you have explained away behaviors that should have been confronted. For too long, you have sacrificed your sleep, your energy, your light, just to keep a fragile harmony. But the harmony was never real. It was you carrying the weight alone while others benefited from your surrender. And heaven is saying, no more. Archangel Michael is not here by accident. He has been standing at the edge of your home for days, waiting for the divine command to enter fully. Tonight, that command has been released. He steps in with authority, not to judge you, but to stand beside you. Not to frighten you, but to empower you. Because what is about to be unveiled is not meant to shake you, it is meant to unchain you. You are about to see something, either with your eyes, your ears, or your spirit, that confirms what your soul already suspected. The odd glances. The shifts in tone. The sudden distance. The things that never added up but you were too loyal to question, heaven has recorded them all. And now, heaven will translate those invisible signs into truth you can no longer ignore. Because tonight is not just about revelation. It's about your liberation. Michael says, "Child of light, you are not crazy. You are not paranoid. You are not dramatic. You are discerning. And what you've been carrying in silence, I now carry with you in truth. His voice is soft, but it thunders in the unseen realm. And everything that was hiding in the corners of your house begins to stir. Energies that once mocked your intuition begin to tremble. Because divine light is entering every hidden place. Not to destroy the people, but to destroy the deception. Someone in your space, someone who has sat close to you, has not been honest. They have been draining the atmosphere of your home without ever saying a word. They smile. They laugh. But they are masking unrest. And tonight, the mask begins to slip. Because their spirit can no longer resist the light God is pouring into your environment. The vibrations in your house are shifting. What once felt heavy will start to feel exposed. What once felt uncertain will start to feel confirmed. You will feel it before you see it. And when it happens, when the moment comes, you won't need to yell. You won't need to prove yourself. You won't need to beg anyone to see what you see. Because this revelation is not for anyone else. It's for you. For your soul. For your healing. For your future. This is not about revenge. This is about release. Michael kneels at the center of your living space now. His wings cover the floor. His hands touch the ground. His sword glows not with violence, but with holiness. He whispers, "This house will not carry secrets anymore. This house will not carry silent battles anymore. This house is being reset." And as he speaks, angels line the thresholds of your doors. Not to block people, but to filter energy. From this night forward, anyone who enters your home will either come with peace or be unable to stay long. Because the energy in your home will no longer tolerate manipulation, lies, or spiritual weight. It has been marked by God now. It is sacred space. Even the walls are responding. Even the air feels different. You might feel tears tonight and not know why. That's release. That's your spirit recognizing a burden it carried for too long. You may feel lighter, even though nothing has changed, yet. That's how heaven works. The shift always happens in the spirit first, then the physical. And by the time your eyes catch up, your soul will already be rejoicing. God speaks now, softly, but clearly, "My child, I have waited for this night. I have watched you cry with no one to comfort you. I have seen you doubt your own intuition just to protect someone's reputation. But now, I step in. I step in because your heart is pure. I step in because you didn't seek revenge, you sought clarity. And I always honor that. This is your moment. Don't run from it. Rest in it." Michael rises slowly, lifting his sword again, not to strike, but to signal completion. A spiritual cleansing has begun. And though you may not understand everything yet, something in you knows this is real. This is sacred. This is needed. Tonight, God doesn't want your panic. He wants your peace. So let the process unfold. Let the truth rise gently. Let what was hidden come to the surface not with fear, but with freedom. And let your home become what heaven always intended, a place of clarity, protection, and divine alignment. This is your moment. Your shift. Your awakening. And Archangel Michael is here, not just for a visit, but for victory. There is a shift in the spiritual atmosphere tonight that no human word can fully explain. It is not loud, but it is undeniable. It is not chaotic, but it is powerful. And if you slow your heart down just enough to feel it, you'll realize something in your home has already started moving. You're not just walking through rooms anymore. You are walking through revelation. And that revelation isn't coming to destroy your comfort. It's coming to remove what was never real comfort in the first place. What heaven removes tonight, it removes to protect your purpose. Archangel Michael is not speaking to your ears anymore. He's speaking directly to your spirit. Because your spirit has been craving clarity long before your mind could admit it. You were not created to live under emotional shadows. You were not designed to live in rooms where love felt conditional. God didn't shape your soul to keep adjusting itself for people who only give when they're seen, and only stay when they benefit. And that's why tonight matters. That's why tonight is not normal. Something you've been tolerating is about to be transformed. And Michael is here to make sure it's not delayed another day. There is someone in your story who has worn the cloak of loyalty but hid their confusion about your light. You didn't see it at first. Because your heart doesn't look for enemies, it looks for connection. But now that connection is strained. Not because you changed, but because the illusion they lived behind can no longer breathe in your growing light. The more you healed, the more they backed away. The more you trusted God, the more they questioned you behind closed doors. And yet, you kept loving. You kept giving. You kept praying. But heaven saw what they whispered. And now heaven is whispering louder. Michael has positioned angels around the places in your home where pain tried to rest. The corner where you wept. The room where the arguments echoed. The hallway where you walked back and forth wondering what you did wrong. Those spaces are now being anointed. Not just blessed. Anointed. Because you're not just recovering from people, you're stepping into divine territory. And your house is part of that. The same place where confusion sat will now host clarity. The same kitchen where gossip was born will now feed your next breakthrough. Because heaven is not just cleansing you, it is reclaiming every inch of ground that the enemy tried to quietly sit on. Tonight is different because your authority is different. You no longer need to chase answers. They're coming to you. You no longer need to explain your heart to those who misunderstood it by choice. Heaven will reveal what words could never prove. And the same people who once doubted your spiritual sensitivity will soon realize you were never emotional, you were divinely sensitive. That's why you cried when no one else did. That's why you felt things others denied. That's why you walked away from things that seemed perfect on the outside. You were never called to be comfortable. You were called to be chosen. Michael is weeping not because he is weak, but because heaven is releasing something that took years to reach this moment. It took storms. It took delays. It took heartbreaks. But tonight, it has finally arrived. And it's not in the form of revenge. It's in the form of restoration. The restoration of your trust. The restoration of your name. The restoration of your peace. And as Michael walks through your space, one room at a time, he is declaring in the Spirit, this house is no longer a place of spiritual negotiation. This house belongs to God. You may hear a sound tonight, a knock, a whisper in your sleep, a name spoken in the wind. Don't be afraid. Don't question it. That's not the enemy. That's the veil between dimensions thinning. That's heaven allowing your spirit to know, you are not alone. We are here. We've always been here. And now, it's time. Time for what? Time for the truth to live here. Time for joy to return here. Time for your soul to rest without wondering who is against you. Because anyone not sent by God will be unable to stay in the space he has now reclaimed. God's voice begins to rise now. Not in anger, but in authority. He says, I am the Lord your God. And I have heard what they said when you weren't in the room. I have watched what they did while smiling in your face. But I did not move then, not because I wasn't listening, but because I was preparing. Preparing you. Preparing the space. Preparing the moment. And now that moment has come. I will not let your tears be wasted. I will not let your heart be trampled. I will not let what I've anointed be treated like an option. Michael raises his wings now, and as he does, light floods through the spiritual dimension into your home. It's not visible to the eye, but your soul will know. You'll feel lighter. Your breath will deepen. Your thoughts will slow down. Your chest will stop aching. Because the spirit that sat in the background for years trying to twist truth and turn hearts, is finally being evicted. And heaven is placing a new law over your life. No more silence. No more deception. No more delay.